All right. I've seen the thumbnail, I've seen the trailer, and I gotta say, I'm conflicted, which may come as a surprise because if you're familiar at all with my channel or me, you'll know that I'm a very big Tellius fan, and there is a lot of Tellius on this banner. It's really strange, and we'll talk about that. But I'll go through them one by one and then kind of talk about some thoughts at the end. Let's go. And here are our units. One of these things doesn't belong here.
We mustn't idle. Bring my groom with haste.
Okay, Nyla. All right, let's talk a little bit about Nyla. So first off, I think a lot of people are confused if you haven't played Radiant Dawn, which should not be a surprise because Radiant Dawn was on the Wii, and I think it's one of the least played games. Really, most people can't even get a copy of it. I think it's harder to work with than Path of Radiance because I feel like most people, if they want to play Path of Radiance, then they can at least emulate the GameCube pretty reliably. But emulating a Wii is a pain in the butt. It really is. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Nyla and Rafael are canonically married without actually being married. Like Nyla basically found Rafael and said, him, that's my husband, he is mine now. And that's kind of how the whole thing goes. So that is why she is on this bridal banner as a bride. And yes, Rafael is her groom. So that is why he is here as well. She's a green infantry beast. So that means she's got the whole Wodow slaying effect that all infantry beasts have. And then she's also got the slaying fang. And then at start of combat, if foe's HP is greater than or equal to 75%, it inflicts attack speed defense -5 on foe during combat, and if special triggers before or during combat and unit attacked, grant special cooldown -1 after combat. So this is basically allowing her to AoE span like crazy. This does not work with Gale Force because Gale Force procs after combat. So she's kind of like, she's a little bit like Yarn, but she can't do the Gale Force spam. Not as easily. Oops, sorry. Now, this is going to be a problem. I have my screen that dims all the time. It's a good weapon. I really like it because she's able to basically get a 1-turn moon bow or a 1 cooldown moon bow, and then she can just kind of constantly spam it. And if she pairs supports with Groom Raphael, she could actually do this with an iceberg or well, I don't know what her res is going to be like. It's probably going to be bag, but like a Draconic Aura or a Luna or anything like that, because she could technically do this with a 3. She'd be a fantastic unit for Special Spiral. She really would. Now, if she's anything like normal Nyla, she's going to have middling attack, middling speed, middling defense, and middling res. Nyla is pretty even all across the board. Like her attack isn't fantastic, her speed's not fantastic, her defenses aren't fantastic, and her HP isn't fantastic. But none of it's bad either. So you could meme her in any which way. I do get the feeling that she'll have way more speed in this ult because they are giving her Swift Sparrow 3 and Chill Speed Defense 2. So she'll probably end up with like base 37 or 38 speed is going to be my guess. And probably, I don't know, maybe like 33 attack or something like that. I'm going to give her like even 25 defenses, somewhere around there. I'm not actually going to math out the BST for that because I don't want to. Yeah, I don't know that there's a whole lot more to say about her. I mean, she's got Glare, which makes her a really good hit and run unit. If she's going to be fast, she's going to be an excellent user of Repel. Mostly because if she can go in, hit a foe with like a moonbow spam kind of thing, and then she glares at the adjacent allies, and then she she close calls backwards. She's basically safe because she's gravity to all those units. So I think that's really cool. I think that opens up some interesting possibilities for her. That should be a thing that's usable on normal Nyla too, but would take a lot more investment just because you'd have to give her both Swift Sparrow 3 and Close Call, not Repel. I mean Close Call. Yeah, and I also think that normal Nyla is probably not going to be as well. She's not as fast as this one's going to be if my hypothesis is correct. Fun fact: I free summoned Nyla this morning, and I've pulled 1, 2, 4. This is my 5th Nyla I think I've pulled. 3 of them have been free summons. So Nyla likes me. I don't know if she'll like me in green, but she likes me in blue. It's very weird. Anyway. Back flipping in a dress.
Remember your vows. I'm Oboro of Hoshido. I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
Okay, so couple things. Full disclosure, some of you may know this, some of you may not. I played maybe 9 hours of one Fates game and never finished it. So I don't have any connection to any of the Fates characters necessarily. Or not many of them. Very, very few of them. Most of the ones I just like because of their designs or lines in Hero or something like that. I don't have any attachment to Oboro specifically. But I was kind of surprised to see her here. I do think she deserves an alt because I've seen a lot of Oboro fans and they're not happy with her original art and everything else. So I hope they're happy with this one. She looks really good. It's kind of a weird hood. I'm hoping the rest of her art kind of looks like maybe she takes the hood off a little bit. Although I do know that that's a very traditional Japanese wedding kimono. So we'll see. The Pledge Blade Plus. This is a really cool inheritable weapon. So it basically goes like this. If bonus is active on unit, grants attack defense +4 and special cooldown charge +1 per foe's attack during combat, and does not stack. Now, bonus in this case can be a visible buff or bonus doubler or things like armor march or the extra movement skill granted by Annette's Rally or something like that, right? So this is a really cool, I don't know if this is like a vengeful fighter kind of thing without the follow-up, but it's it's just giving you cooldown on an inheritable weapon, which is really, really cool. The possibilities with this right here are really profound for flyers and calves because they don't have access to breaths normally. So taking Pledged Blade and putting it on like a Sigurd or something like that to like constantly keep his special up would be really, really, really cool. So keep that in mind. Now, the rest of her kit's kind of lackluster. I honestly thought she was going to be the demote until I saw another unit on here. And she's got Odd Pulse Tie, which is basically the same as Even Pulse Tie, but it starts on turn 1. This may be better for Ether raids than Even Pulse Tie just because it goes turn 1. So that would kind of like kill Infantry Pulse at the start of turn 1. And if memory serves, this can be inherited by everything except flyers, which, yeah, well, anyway. But other than that, there's not a whole lot new here. Yeah. Not a whole lot new here. But she's a pretty interesting unit. Given her interesting kit, I'm going to say that she's probably going to have middling speed, like around the 30s. Low to mid 30s, probably like 30, 32, something like that. A decent attack and decently high defense and moderate res. So probably like 20 res, 37 defense or something like that. And I don't know what her attack would be if that all happened, but there's also a good chance that they may sacrifice some of her attack for some more HP because I think that's kind of what they did with Nils and he was running Even Pulse Tie. But he also came with an HP skill, and she does not. So I don't really know how that's going to go. But it's just so weird to see one Fates unit on a banner that's full of Tellius units. It just looks really weird. I kind of wish they would have evened that out a little bit more. But okay. It's very strange. Very strange choices on this banner. I mean, she might be decently fast. I don't know. I don't think so.
Have you seen my bride? She must look very beautiful.
All right, Rafael, I am so excited to see you in the game, and your groom outfit looks just like your normal outfit. So I'm going to pretend that this is actually like a normal unit, because it basically looks like one. So this is Nyla's husband, common law husband, I guess. I don't know what else to say with that. Now, I want to point out something, because I've seen a lot of people react to this video so far, and not one of them has pointed out that Rafael is a blue infantry unit. He is not a flyer. And this has canon references, because Rafael was injured during an event in game, like before the games happened, and he can't fly. So he actually is an infantry dancer in Radiant Dawn. He just has not so great movement. It makes him actually a little bit difficult to use compared to Rayson and Leanne, because Rayson and Leanne have really good movement, and as dancers, having really good movement is awesome. But Rafael has like little over half what their movement is. So he's a little bit harder to move around the map, but if I remember correctly, his healing capabilities, or his Galder, is a lot stronger, but they're not carrying that over to this game. I don't think. Now, interestingly, he does not have the healing that the other two Herons have. He doesn't give the +7 HP at the start of every turn. So I don't know how I feel about that. And he also gets the Wo Dao effect from proccing his special, which is really weird. So I'm not quite sure like what his true utility is as a dancer here. I mean, obviously his claim to fame here is the res +3, and then at start of turn 1, grant special cooldown -1 to unit support partner, if any. But that's basically kind of a worse version of Valoria's, if I'm remembering correctly. So I'm a little on that one. But that could still make for some interesting special shenanigans. It's really cool to have that effect on a dancer, because Valoria, while she can do special cooldown -2, she's not able to give the dancing option. So technically speaking, you could run Rafael here in like an AR offense, infantry pulse, gale force shenanigan kind of thing, and he can function as a gale force dancer, and he can give a unit like Nyla a 4 cooldown. Well, actually, it wouldn't really work in her case because she already has a 4 CD gale force. But you kind of get the idea, right? And it's not like the infantry beasts make really good Gale Force units anyway, because, well, they have the Wo Dao effect, and that doesn't proc on Gale Force, but it's just an example. Now, he is the 4-star demote, and I do really like him, but I'm just a little confused about what I think his stats red is going to be. Given that he's getting res +3, I'm going to say he's going to have pretty decent res, low-ish defense, like most of the Heron, like Leanne probably. He'll be a little bit more like Leanne. I'm going to assume that he's going to be a bit slow, and I'm going to also assume that his attack is going to be pretty good, which is going to be strange. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot to say about him. But just keep in mind, he is an infantry. I know he's a bird, but he's an infantry unit. So just don't be surprised if you pull him and he can't fly over puddles. Can I just say his art is absolutely stunning? I mean, his sprite is kind of funny, but, yeah.
So beautiful.
You're very dapper, South.
Be safe.
Okay, let's talk about the real duo unit on this banner. The one that kind of gives me a little bit mixed feelings. Okay, so the problem with Mkhaya is that every single one of her alts is basically exactly the same. They're all tomes in different colors, and they're all effective against armored and cavalry with one additional effect somewhere, right? It's either a hardy bearing, or it's a penalty boost, or it's the damage reduction from Thani from ranged cavalry units. So specific. This one is particularly strong because of her duo skill, and then also because basically if she's buffed at all, she gets attack res +6 during combat, and then if she initiates, she has an impact. So, I mean, that's really strong. If she's got strong defensive stats, that she's basically a really great mixed phase unit. Now, I have some qualms about Mkhaya and Soth being the duo unit on this banner, though I will provide a little bit of background for those of you who are not aware. A lot of people have called Soth and Mkhaya siblings, and they're not entirely wrong. They're not related, technically. Not blood related, anyway. And through most of the game, Mkhaya does treat Soth like a little brother. But you can make a very good case that Soth is basically in love with Mkhaya for like the entire game. So I'm interested to see how they handle their duo conversation and if they address that at all, because they kind of mentioned something like that in their the Sharina meets the heroes thing, which is just so awkward. So awkward. And they do canonically marry at the end of Radiant Dawn. It's an interesting system because Tellius is the one game in the whole series that actually has canon pairings. And not very many of them. I believe there are 9 total throughout the entire class. 9 paired endings, and that's it. And Mkhaya and Soth is one of them. And they do marry if they reach the end of the game with their support intact. Now, Radiant Dawn is a weird game too because you can break supports and support anyone with anybody, but there's not like real support conversations. They're just kind of like prefabricated kind of generic lines that sort of work together, but also can create some really weird looking conversations and interactions between characters because they're not actual support conversations. Now, Mkhaya and Soth start the game with full S support, I believe, with each other. And so you can effectively opt out of their paired ending by breaking their support. But if you don't do anything, you just kind of leave it as it is, then they marry at the end of the game. So that's why this alt makes sense. It's a little awkward. If they were going to do a Tellius duo unit, I would have much rather this have been Alencia and Jeffrey, because I just think that would have been extremely cute. And B, it would have had some, I mean, Alencia only has one alt right now, so that would have been nice. I'll just leave it there. I will just leave it there and just talk about this unit in general. This is a very, very strong unit. We do know her stat spread. We'll show it here in a minute. Sacrifice is the skill that basically every Mkhaya has now, except for Dancer Mkhaya, because she has Dance. Attack Res Push 4 is not new. Mystic Boost was only available on Air. Now it is available on Mkhaya, though I can't see anyone foddering a Mkhaya for it. But if you do, then, well, cool. I mean, she's in colorless. She should be okay easily to get. I don't know. And then Oath is just kind of funny because it's a bridal alt. I don't know that there's a whole lot to say about her. I mean, she's really, really, really strong, but she's basically exactly like Brave Mkhaya in applications and everything else. She's just slightly stronger, I think, because she's not relying on the debuff. She's relying on being buffed or having some sort of boost or bonus herself. So that's kind of it. I guess most of my thoughts on her was really more about why they decided to make her the bridal alt. I still think it's kind of an odd choice. But I have many thoughts on that. But anyway, Soth looks absolutely adorable in this alt. Look at that smug little face. And she just hits him with diamonds. Can I just say, like, the weirdest thing for me about Mkhaya and Soth as a married couple is that it's so hard to see Soth as a king, or I guess technically a prince consort. It's just a really weird mental image, but anyway. Okay, her duo skill is really stupid and really busted. So her skill is called Dominance, and it grants dominance to unit and allies within 3 columns centered on unit. Then it inflicts defense and res -7 on foes within 3 columns centered on unit through their next actions. Now, dominance is something that we're all very, very familiar with because it is broadly fan and blizzard. Basically, the unit deals additional damage equivalent to total penalties on foe for 1 turn. Only lasts for 1 turn, but basically you can turn any unit into a broadly fan unit, which is really gross because you could effectively take a super tank, right? That can just take 1 hit and maybe has a hard time boosting their damage output. And you can, oh my God. It's just so gross. So you can put attack and speed smoke on them, okay? Speed smoke in the S, attack smoke in the C. And then they can attack in. Mkhaya can proc her duo skill from behind. And then you just sit there and watch your unit broadly fan everything for -7 on all stats. Or if you're running maybe the other Mkhaya, right? Like pair this with the other Mkhaya for a minute. Brave Mkhaya specifically, sorry. If you took Brave Mkhaya and put her on a map, she gets penalties added to her stats based on the penalties on the foe. Plus she's getting rid of attack and speed via Yoon's Whispers on her B slot, right? So now she's debuffed defense, res, attack, and speed. And then she's adding that to her damage output and then adding all of those 7 stats to all of her 7 stats. Well, actually, I think it's attack speed -6 on Yoon's Whispers, but I digress. Anyway, so there's some really disgusting combinations to be had here. I think this is probably one of the most busted of the duo skills. And this is also another reason why I have some mixed feelings on this banner. But yeah, Mkhaya T-poses for dominance, apparently.
Certainly.
Here we go. Okay, wait, before we go anywhere. So we have her, we have her stats here. So she's got, I'm going to assume she's got +6 to her res and attack, but it might be +4. But she's got some pretty low HP, really low speed, really low defense. So this is basically expected, I think. Mkhaya usually has really good attack and really good res, and she doesn't vary all that much. She's not like Camilla, who also covers the entire spectrum. She doesn't have much in the terms of variety in her spreads. So this is kind of expected. Nothing new here. The low HP is really unfortunate, but meh.
Take my hand.
Happily.
Poor guy is so smitten.
I'm right here.
Why is she floating? I don't understand. It made sense with Brave Mkhaya, but anyway. Yeah, so now we also have, for a free unit, our Tempest Trials unit, we're going to be getting Hinata, which should come as a surprise, or maybe not, because Oboro's on this banner. but it feels so weird. I kind of feel like they should have put Hinata on the banner and then made Rafael the free unit, the Tempest Trial unit. And the reason I say that is because then they would have had 2 Hoshidans and 2 Tellius units on the banner. And I feel like that would have been more fair. But at the same time, then you have a shared focus. So I have mixed feelings on that because Nyla, I think, should just not be the free unit. That's weird. But they could have swapped some colors around. They could have made Nyla blue again. They could have made Rafael green, and then they could have swapped Hinata and Rafael. But I guess they wanted each of the herons to be different colors. They could have made Rafael red. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I've just, it's so weird to see 3 Tellius units on a banner and then 1 Hoshiden because they just feel so out of place. It should have been 2 and 2. But it's not, so we're going to work with what we got. Okay, so Hinata. He is an infantry axe unit as far as anyone can tell. We don't know that he's infantry. I'm going to guess he's infantry to match Oboro because most of this banner, except for Mkhaya, is all infantry, so I'm going to assume that is also the case here. And because the inheritable weapon of the free unit usually matches the inheritable weapon on the banner, we can safely assume for now that his axe, or boomerang, it's a boomerang. It's definitely a boomerang. Has the breath effect that the sword does. So that's pretty cool because now we have an axe that can also be inherited to a flyer or a cav unit and give them access to breaths that they don't usually have. So putting that that axe on a unit like Har or Jerome would be really, really cool because they're enemy phase units, right? And they can get cooldown specials now. They could special spam. Like you could actually make it viable to run special spam builds on flyer and cav units, which I just think is really, really neat. So yeah, definitely keep that in mind if you're going in here for skill inheritance. Really nice to have that. But in terms of Hinata as a unit, I know nothing about him. We know nothing, absolutely nothing about him. Other than I think. Oh no, I don't even think we know what he has for skills. We know what the seals are. They're even speed wave and speed defense bond. Long time coming. We got steady posture as a seal before speed defense bond. Go figure that one out. But he's got a lot of HP, more than anyone here. And I will assume that because he has high HP, he's probably going to be quite similar to his red variant. And I'm sorry, Hinata, but honestly, your fate has been sealed the moment you became a free unit with a breath weapon inheritable. You were always the best of the fury fodder, and now you'll be the best of the breath axe fodder. And that's just kind of the way it is, and it is a sad fate, one you will have to bear. Well, not alone this time, because you have Oboro here. But anyway, yeah. So that's this banner. And like I said before, we've got Rafael down here available as the 4-star focus. So if you're looking for a nice infantry dancer that may be able to give you some additional utility with his weapon, then he might be a nice match for you. In all honesty, he's not very good on defensive teams. So he's not very good on arena defense or AR defense, just because he can't make use of that support partner thing. He's not like Valoria, because Valoria gives herself and a support partner -2 cooldown on the start of turn 1. So on defensive teams, she's still good because she still applies the -2 to herself. Rafael can't do that. But anyway, really interesting banner. I'm very conflicted about it. I mean, I do like some of these units. I would like to have some of them. Honestly, I've been kind of wiped out on orbs, and I think I'm going to just go ahead and keep trying to break my rate for now. This banner will be around for quite a while. It's going to be around for an entire month. It starts on the 20th and ends on the 20th of June. So you've got plenty of time to collect orbs and make a good run at this and so on and so forth. So, yeah. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. I think I've rambled on long enough. I'm really, really disappointed that this is not an FE4 bridal banner. I don't understand the sudden need for Tellius spam. I really don't. Even being a really big Tellius fan myself, it feels very weird. Although I will say this, because this is really funny. I have now realized why Sanaki, Tanith, and Sigrun all have bridal alts. It's because they were all going to Mkhaya's wedding. They're going to Mkhaya's wedding, and you've got Sigrun and Tanith not as brides, but as bridesmaids. And you've got Sanaki as the flower girl. And now everything makes sense, and this is the weirdest retcon in history. Anyway, I am gonna go. Let me know who you're pulling for, who you're not pulling for, what you're excited about, what you're not, down in the comments below. Very interested to hear. And I am so sorry to all of the FE4 fans who are waiting for their alts. Because apparently no one other than Julia is allowed to get alts from FE4. I asked, why do you hate genealogy? Why? Why? Let the Tellius fans rest, please. They've had enough. They've had enough for now. Just leave us be. Okay. Anyway, take care, guys, and good luck.